Good afternoon. Today we are back at Turkey Run State Park working on our 5 mile challenge. I had anticipated mixing in the punch bowl along with the camelback on this one, but when I looked at the two videos together, it was so long. So today we're just going to work on the punch bowl, which is kind of between trails 3 and 4. So thanks for coming along. Let's get to it. All right, so we're coming up to the punch bowl from the trail 4 side. And this is a decent little trail. And as we come up here, there's a stream crossing, okay? And it doesn't look like there's much water in it today. Some days there's a lot of water, some days there's not much. But you can see we've got all these rounded rocks in there. And rocks are typically rounded because the water smooths them over time. And if you look, you might see a bunch of rock types that is not really general to the area. Usually this area we get a lot of sandstone, maybe some limestone, but a lot of those rocks might be granite, and it might be granite from the Laurentian Shield or that was transported here from Canada during the Ice Age. And the glaciers carried all these rocks down and dropped them here. Fun fact, at some point these were known as dropstones, and the working theory was that birds carried them. And you saw some of those rocks. Birds did not carry them. But here we are, we're at the top of the punch bowl, and so you can take your picture here and look down. And then we're going to go up these stairs, and I'll probably get some more looks down here. That that tree that's in that chute has been there forever. But we're still on trail 4 here. A lot of people come up here from the opposite direction where we're going to by mistake, because sometimes trail 3 looks like it's blocked off. But we have to continue on, and we go down these steps, which in the winter are icy as all get out and can be very slippery. I may be walking very slowly here. This was before it got really cold. So the last time I was out there, I was walking very slowly through this because there was so much ice. And I think I've already said that about a year ago I slipped on some of these icy stairs and broke an ankle. But here you can see this is trail 3, and behind us now is the continuation. This direction takes us to Sugar Creek. And did I just slip? I don't think so. I'm trying to decide if that looks like ice or bubbles. Like I say, I don't think it was that cold, but I sure have a claw in my face. But here we're going into the punch bowl, and hey, it says punch bowl. There's a sign. I swear that this used to be called the Devil's Punch Bowl when I was a kid, but I cannot find any reference to that. Yes, the ice box that we're going to look at another day used to be known as the Devil's Ice Box, and there is a Devil's Punch Bowl over at Shade State Park, but I thought this one was as well. Maybe it was. I don't know. Maybe it's the Mandela effect. But anyway, this is the punch bowl. And I think about how the punch bowl is formed, and I thought about it, and I said, well, water goes flowing in there however it goes, and then it swirls around like the toilet water and carves all this out. And that made sense to me. And then I started looking it up, and yeah, I'm not really right, but I'm okay with that. So we already talked about what a lot of the rock here is. A lot of it's sandstone, and underneath it is a lot of limestone. And the important thing about limestone is it is easily dissolved by acid. Now, if you're of an age that I am, you remember in high school all the talk was about acid rain. And acid rain is really a thing. I don't care if you don't believe in it, that's up to you, but you're wrong. And the acid rain does dissolve that limestone, and that is how caves are made. Um, Most caves are made in limestone areas, and that percolating water down dissolves that limestone and makes a cave. That's called karst topography, okay? And southern Indiana is very karst. And so the idea is that there was a massive limestone in there, it was dissolved, and then the overlaying structure caved in, and then water kind of swept all the debris away or something like that. I'm very much simplifying this, okay? If you're really interested in how this happens, hey, go take a geology class or read a good book. It Oh, I sound like such a nerd. It is so fascinating in many ways. But we've come up this trail in other videos before, so I don't mind talking over it. Um, but the punch bowl is interesting. This is not the only punch bowl in the world. It is not the only punch bowl in Indiana. It is not the only punch bowl within 10 miles of this, okay? So if you try and look up Google punch bowl, you get something that's out on the West Coast, and you got to really narrow it down. If we look at this, this is mostly sandstone cliffs above us, and I talked about this months ago. As we're going up this hill, we're getting younger and younger, right? And so I forget how old this stuff was, and do I want to look? Maybe I don't want to look. But it was almost like every step you took, you were being transported through time like 1 million years. Looks like I just fell in a hole or crushed through some ice, or I got my foot wet, because otherwise I wouldn't take a picture of my own feet. But this is really fascinating stuff. I think they call this a canyon. I don't know if it's a canyon. We talked about the difference between canyons and ravines when we did the Shades 6 Ravine Challenge, and there's not a real calculated difference between them. Canyons are considered just to be more grandiose than a ravine. So, is this grandiose? I don't know. It's got kind of a wide bottom. It's kind of U-shaped. Um, Maybe a ravine is a little more V-shaped and not quite as wide. I don't know. I guess whoever got to name it made that determination. So we're coming up to the stairs. When I was a kid, there were no stairs here. You had to scramble. Yes, that concrete bit at the bottom was there because that's ancient, but these wooden stairs were not there. Um, and it was definitely a scramble. Other interesting thing that I was looking through all the Indiana State Park flyers and stuff, looking at the trails, because um, when we did the Clifty Falls Trail 2, that was claimed to be the ruggedest trail in Indiana, it was labeled as very rugged. And so I said, well, I wonder how many other parks have very rugged trails on them. And when I was a kid growing up, this was just rated as rugged. But now when I go look, Turkey Run has Trail 3, which we just walked a little bit of Trail 3, as very rugged, and Trail 9, which is currently shut down, showing as very rugged. The other one is there, I think it's Trail 2 at Shades, and there's the one at Clifty Falls, and there's one more that I can't remember, but I'll probably do a series on those because why wouldn't I? But so now we're up on top. We're going to be heading towards Trail 10 on our way to the Camelback. But I'm going to cut this off because that was another 20-minute video, and I'm not quite prepared for it. I think we picked up quite a bit of trash on this one, and you got to see it. So anyway, I hope you learned a little bit on this one, just a little bit. And if you're interested, hey, you really should go and look up some of this stuff on your own. Look around you when you're on these hikes and think about how this stuff was formed. All right? Have a good one. This is trash I picked up last week, middle of February, because there's been so much snow lately. We've been under like a foot of snow, and I haven't felt like leaving the house. So I'm go out again this week because I'm out of stored pictures of trash right now, which I guess is a good thing. But anyway, next one, I think we're going to do Camelback. So get ready for that, and thanks for coming along. See you next time.